So we are now in the week 8, and then next week we will have midterm exam presentation. Okay. And I will explain later. So today we were talking about data warehouse. So data warehouse is like a big storage space for important business information, and it will collect data from many different places inside the company and organizes it so managers or leader or employee or staff worker can easily use it to make better decisions. Data warehouse businesses look at the big picture, and make smart choices based on facts, not guesses. So it's really in the data because you are using data, so you are not guessing. You just use data. Okay. So this data storage is very special because it used to design, for example, design to organize. You can data can be organized by subject. For example, sales data. So the data is only for customer, for sales. Customer data. So the data only for the customer, for example, name, address, email, so all of the about customer data. So customer data is only for the customer, and then for the sales data only for sales. How many units you already sell? Okay. Our product data that group together. Okay. Integrated, it brings data from different sources together in one place. So this is also possible. It brings data from different sources together in one place. Time-based, it gives both current and historical past data so you can see how things change over time. So usually you can group the data. This is the this year data, last month data, this month data, last year data, 2 years data. So you can see how the trend, how the change over time. Stable. So once the data is stored or kept, it will not change, but it will use for the future analysis. So why data warehouse? Data warehouse is very important. So data warehouse is not about the warehouse thing; it's about a lot of data put together. So why the data warehouse is important? Because information is often spread out in many different computer systems, and it's hard to get a full view. Managers might make decisions with only part of the information. With data warehouse, all the important data is collected, cleaned, and stored in one place, ready to use, and these help companies quickly spot problems, track the trends, and make better decisions. So with data warehouse, it's very important. So you can collect, clean, store the data in one place, ready to use, and this help company quickly spot problem easily. Okay? So this is I have a video to explain this data warehouse.
The data warehouse is a central repository of information that can be analyzed to make more informed decisions. Data flows into a data warehouse from transactional systems. Relational databases and other sources typically on a regular cadence. Business analysts, data engineers, data scientists, and decision makers access the data through business intelligence tools, SQL clients, and other analytics applications. Data and analytics have become indispensable to businesses to stay competitive. Business users rely on reports, dashboards, and analytic tools to extract insights from their data, monitor business performance, and support decision making. Data warehouses power these reports, dashboards, and analytics tools by storing data effectively to minimize the input and output of data and deliver query results quickly to hundreds and thousands of users concurrently. The benefits of data warehousing are as follows. Decision making becomes a more informed process. with all the analytics and data provided by Data Warehouse. The quality of data is significantly high, in that data integrity is not compromised in the slightest. Data consolidation is a big part of Data Warehouse. All of your data is found within one warehouse. Separation is also a very big deal. Separation of analytics processing from transactional databases improves performance of load systems. And lastly, historical data analysis, which allows us to look at data ranging all the way back to many years ago.
So this is the example of, not the example, the explanation of data warehouse. You can see here, there is, for example, this is a dashboard. I don't know what software they use, but it's very cool. This is for the financial statistic. And this is the dashboard. We last time we were trying to use data dashboard using Nine and also using the Power BI. But this is another software. I think it's pretty cool for the from the how do you say the appearance pretty much cool. This is for finance, for example, and then also another data dashboard for project status reporting. And then you can see here, this is also data warehouse. This is also, you can make a report or dashboard using this data. So you can see this is like a date after date, and then this is this one in New York bus journey. New York bus journey. So every city in the U.S., Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, and you see that maybe the highest tower had the higher data. So this is how we use data warehouse. Another important is you can use a warehouse for how do you say, make a better decision, of course. Okay? So a real example of data warehouse is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's data warehouse. So Coca-Cola, of course, everyone knows Coca-Cola, is the famous beverage company and uses a huge data warehouse to manage information from all over the world. They collect data from sales, customer feedback, suppliers, and marketing campaigns. So using the data to track the sales, to analyze the customer feedback, supplier, and marketing campaign. The data warehouse also helps the Coca-Cola to track how their drink are selling in different countries, which flavors are popular. I think that we only have three. If I'm Taiwan, I only know that three flavors of Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, and Coca-Cola Fiber. The one that you can see in the 7-Eleven or Family Mart. So I think they have three. In Taiwan, I only find three variants of Coca-Cola: Coca-Cola Original, Zero Sugar, and Fiber. Okay, but maybe in different countries they have another flavor. So which flavor are popular and whether they need to improve their supply chain. If sales of a particular product grow in one area, Coca-Cola can quickly spot the problem and take action, like such as launching a new advertisement campaign or adjusting the price. So this is why the data warehouse is very important. Now we use the. Well, now we would like to take a look the history of data warehouse. So even though the term of data warehouse sounds modern, the idea of data warehouse has been around for over 100 years. So it's already a long time ago, data warehouse. Probably it's still using manual, but it's the concept already introduced since it was 1900. Businesses try to collect and analyze information to make better decisions, although they did it all by hand. Even though they use manual, using computer, but the concept of data warehouse already introduced in that 1900s. Okay, we take a look one by one. So the first first history start in the 1970s. 1970s. I also haven't born yet in 1970s. So, but in 1970s, at the beginning of the IBM. So, in the 1970s back then, so how long is that? It's around like 50 years ago. So businesses use mainframe computers to run programs and store business data. But there was a big problem. First, the data was stored in complicated ways locked inside the system. Okay, so the data was stored in complicated way locked inside the system. So if someone wanted a report like what are the sales trend this year, they had to make a formal request and wait, and sometimes for a week. So if you need the data, you need to wait for a week because the computer is old and then it's very hard to retrieve or see the data. And then the technology at that time wasn't ready yet to give people quick, easy access to this information. So because it's very old, maybe the computer speed is totally different with the we have right now. But so if you would like to see the data, you need to wait like a week. Okay? For example, banks like Citibank wanted faster way to use their business data. So this led a new ideas to speed up their process. And then, later on, in the 1970s, Teradata is born. So Teradata is born. So a group of researchers, Teradata is like a big amount of data. So this is initiated by a group of researchers at Caltech and Citibank work together to create a new system. They started a company called Teradata in 1979, which focused on storing and processing huge amount of data for decision making. Okay. So this is the history of the Teradata. So this is the history of Teradata. Okay. So this is the Teradata headquarters. The first one, you see that it's just very old, normal computer. And then it's 1980, they started to use more beginning the data. Okay? So this is like the history of the data storage, especially Teradata. So before they are using like very old computer, and then they developed a lot in 1990s. They're using like the panel, a big panel nowadays.
It is explosively powerful, highly advanced, and open architecture that connects simultaneously with mainframes, mini computers, and workstations alike.
Now in 1990s they are grows, and then in 2000 now they are getting bigger. So this is the current present Teradata. They developed to be a big data storage company. Okay. Okay, so this is the one. Let's compare with the 1979. If you compare, it is like a very they started in like a house This standard data company, like literally the house, and then they only have several one panel, old computer. I don't even I don't even know that the computer have so big. It's in 1980 they're starting to go public. Okay, so this is we call it Teradata. The story of Teradata. So this is the beginning of the idea of the. So Teradata is the company that initiated data warehouse. So data warehouse, the pretty much a new concept introduced in the company using the name is the Teradata. But Teradata is the example of the data warehouse. So you can put your data storage in that company. And then there is 1980s, there is another development of data warehouse, is island of data problem. So in the 1980s, computers become smaller and more common in companies. So it's more people using computers, more company using this. How do you say? More companies using computer. So not just in a one big mainframe, but everywhere. But this caused a new problem called island of data. So what is island of data? So island of data means different departments store data in different places. So not integrated. So for example, department marketing, they have their own data, their production, they have their own data. So when it also hard to get a complete accurate picture of the whole business. For example, if you need sales data or production data, of course you need to take a look into sales data. If you would like to forecast, you need to take a look to the sales data. So if it's not integrated, it's very hard to make analysis. So early software tried to combine this data, but it didn't work well because the computer system, we don't have cloud like we have nowadays. So again, companies like Teradata introduced a new tool to solve this. For example, Wells Fargo Bank, they tested the first Teradata system in 1983 to manage large amount of business data efficiently. Well, in 1990s, data warehouse now become real. So in the 1990s, a new smarter idea appeared. Instead of trying to grab data from everywhere, why not copy all the important data to one central place? So they're using important data to copy into one central place. Organize it properly and let people analyze it. This was the birth model of data warehouse. So this is the birth of the modern data warehouse, because they would like to try to integrate in a one central place. So another important key event is 1993, Bill Inman wrote Building the Data Warehouse, and many call him the father of data warehouse. While 1969, Ralph Kimball released the Data Warehouse Toolkit, explaining how to structure data for easy analysis. Okay, so this is the data warehouse history. Now it is 9:35. Let's have the attendance check first for the first hour. Please scan the QR code for the first hour attended and make sure you scan successfully. you scan the QR code successfully, okay? Anyone? Scan, right? Okay, so let's move to go back to the battery. So again, from 1970, 1990, and then now 2000. In the 2000s, it's pretty much millennials. The millennials, some of the big companies joined the game. However, as the data grew bigger, more companies jumped into the data warehousing. For example, Microsoft, Oracle, SAP, IBM. So new hardware and software were created to store and analyze data more quickly and cheaply. Not only Teradata, but some of the bigger companies already tried to introduce the data warehouse. Take a look into this is nowadays data warehouse in IBM. You see that the panel room is very, very big and it's very cold. So now, this is the IBM nowadays, how they manage their data warehouse. Okay, so this is the data warehouse, data warehouse, cloud computing, cloud data centers in IBM. Okay, so this is the how they're in their how do you say panel room. Okay. Now we'd like to the history of data storage data. So nowadays we use. I don't think that nowadays people use USB of drive anymore, right? I think they are using the cloud. Nowadays you save in the cloud or email. But when I was a student before, I used USB. Only one or several megabyte. Now it's all gigabyte. And then they have the CD-ROM. CD. So now it's all are very developed. So let's see how the development of data storage.
Dates back to antiquity, where our ancestors stored information on cave walls, then on papyrus, parchment, and paper. Let's see how data storage started and evolved. Punch cards were the first official form of data storage. These were pieces of perforated paper where the holes are 1 and the non-holes are 0, being inserted into the computer by Seagate released the first 5.25-inch hard drive with the same structure as today. It weighed 2.3 kilograms and could store 5 megabytes of data. In 1982, Sony and Philips released a compact disc to store information in digital format, especially audio recordings. The CD storage capacity was 700 megabytes. In 1991, SanDisk released the first commercial SSD with a storage capacity of 20 megabytes. The largest SSD is currently 100 terabytes and costs over $40,000. In 1994, iOmega introduced Zip Drive with a capacity of 100 megabytes, then 250 megabytes, then 750 megabytes. In 1995, Sony, Philips, Toshiba, and Panasonic introduced DVDs. It has a larger storage capacity than the same size CD. A DVD could store 4.7 gigabytes of multimedia data. In 1999, Panasonic, Toshiba, and SanDisk developed a 8 megabyte SD card. Back then, the SD card was used primarily to store music and photos. In 1999, M-System developed the first USB flash drive, a plug-and-play data storage device. The first USB flash had a storage capacity of 8 megabytes, gradually increasing the storage capacity even to 1 terabyte. In 2006, Dell, Hitachi, Hewlett-Packard, LG, Mitsubishi, Panasonic, Sony, and TDK developed Blu-ray disc, a high-definition data technology. A Blu-ray disc can store 25 gigabytes or 50 gigabytes of data. The concept of cloud computing really began to be discovered in 2006 when Amazon launched AWS, Amazon Web Services. Google Drive is the most used cloud storage service in the world with a percentage of 94.4%, followed by Dropbox with 66.2% and OneDrive with 39.35%.
Okay, so I'll stop here. So this is the now we have this one. I think that everyone uses this one, right? Google Drive, Dropbox, and also the OneDrive. I think that this is very common, so you don't have to because USB sometimes is easily to break down. Like I don't know why my USB is always no less than one year or 2 years. So yeah, and now I prefer the Google Drive, and then I have another one as a Peak Cloud. If you use this one, I can introduce you. It's very good. So we call it Peak Cloud, and it's like free, and then have like a 10 terabyte. So I use this one, and it's not consume your drive C. So I use this one, Peak Cloud, instead of this. I use this one as well, and also use Peak Cloud because Peak Cloud is very easy, and you just install in your computer, and it will not consume your drive because they create a Peak Cloud drive, and I really recommend it. You can try it, and it's free. Of course, I have a premium, but the free one is big enough. So this is the development. I just use. I really miss. When I was a kid. I tried to buy one of my music is Whitney Houston. Anyone knows Whitney Houston? It's like Whitney Houston, right? It's a legend for the pop music. And then I bought this. My first cassette is Whitney Houston. And sometimes I don't know whether you still have a cassette, but if sometimes you cannot play, you need to rotate in this one to play the music. So this is cassette to listen to music mostly, or video audio. I also use this one floppy disk when I was elementary school. So I put the game in the floppy disk, and it's very. I don't know. I think this is when I was in 1996 or 1998 or 1996, 1998. We used in the school using this one. I think I already know the two smaller one. Of course, I know the bigger one and the smaller one. I put some game there. I remember my first game is Peter Pan, so I don't know, it's very cute game when I was, this is floppy disk, and you can write here what the name of this file, so it's very cute, it was very old. And then, after that, they have CD, I don't know, when I was senior high, and the senior high, I used to the internet cafe. I don't know, is it internet cafe? So at that time, not every home has the internet, not like this one. My home, even my parents already have a Wi-Fi, but at that time we don't have. So we need to go to internet cafe. So it's like a cafe that provides a computer internet. And then if I would like to listen to music and I would like to, how to say, piracy, I become piracy to download the music. So I use the CD to buy and then burn it, and then I forget how the apps, and then put my music. I think this can be until 40 or 50 music. So it's very low. So I put some music in this CD. Of course, now we have SSD. SSD, solid state drive. So if you don't know what is SSD, actually SSD stands for solid state drive. So if you know micro SD or SSD, this is stand from solid state drive. And now we see Blu-ray is for DVD, and now we have the SD card. Okay, and USB, of course. USB. Some of the people use USB, but nowadays, some laptop not use USB anymore. Now have the micro, type C. I don't know. Not every laptop nowadays the new laptop have a USB drive. So I believe that in the 5 or 10 years later, nobody use the USB anymore because the laptop itself is very thin. I don't know, like how do you say? Takeshi, in your laptop have do you in your laptop has the has a USB drive in your laptop? Can you check?
In my laptop?
Yes. No, you don't have it because it's too thin and you cannot insert the USB. I have like a smaller one, Type C. So I believe that this USB in the 5 or 10 years is gonna be gone. So now that we move to this one. Even old laptop you have a CD room, but now in this era the CD room will be not used anymore. Okay, so this is we use cloud computing, a cloud data. So the example Amazon. So like you said in the how do you say, actually this cloud is introduced by Amazon. They have Amazon Web Service. They are the one that using the what is it? I think it says something here. I think that's the beginning of the cloud computing is Amazon. So Amazon launched Amazon Web Services. So they're the pioneer of the cloud computing. So if you ever heard about AWS, what is AWS? I think it's very well known. If you go to the ITM department, our vice president, Professor Lee, one of his research is focused on the AWS, Amazon Web Services. Okay. So Amazon Web Services is the first cloud computing that introduced to the world. So Amazon uses both traditional data warehouse and big data tools, and their data warehouse stores structured information like customer orders, sales, and product details. Big data tools analyze browsing behaviors, customer reviews, and real-time data from millions of shoppers to improve recommendation and marketing. And these combinations really help Amazon to run their business, make quick, smart decisions, and stay ahead of competitors. Up till now, I have any question? Okay. So, characteristics of data warehouse. A data warehouse is a system that collects and stores business information from different sources to help managers make better decisions. According to expert Bill Edmond, a good data warehouse has the following characteristics. First, subject-oriented. Second, integrated. Time-variant or have a historical data because you have to put several data. Non-volatile or stable. Okay, so they have a four: subject, integrated, time-variant, and non-volatile. Okay, so this is the character of data warehouse. We take a look one by one. The first character is subject-oriented. So the data is organized by topics such as sales, customer, and product. So if you make a file in your computer, of course you have a title, right? This is also the data. They have a data for the sales, the data for the file for the folder for customer, and folder for product. Of course, this will have people focus on specific areas of the business. It's different from normal operation databases which are designed for daily transaction. For example, recording order or payment. Example, a store like Nike can quickly look at sales data for shoes, clothing, or accessories separately to see how each category is performing. So this is so you can give the specific folder name. Number two, integrated. So data from different sources is combined in a consistent format. So if the data is using Excel or using Access document Access, so please make it consistent. So it's easier for you to transfer or read or analyze the data. So problems like different naming system or measurement unit are solved. For example, if one system calls a product t-shirt and another calls it top, the data warehouse make sure they are treated as the same product. So make sure you're naming the data consistently. For example, if you give a name of the product t-shirt, of course you need to give a t-shirt. So when you retrieve the data, it's easier to recall. Not one t-shirt and then the other called top or the other called shirt or the other called blues. No, so it should be the consistent. So it's when it's needed, it's easily to be integrated, to be analyzed. Number three, time variant or historical data. So the data warehouse keep historical data, not just current information. They need to be able to store several data back then. For example, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Because it can show trends or graphs changing over days, weeks, months, or years. So if you collect several data, not only today and then you delete it, but CCTV, usually CCTV only for a month. I don't know right now the capacity of CCTV, but CCTV is pretty much smaller data storage. So CCTV usually they will erase like, I don't know in the future maybe you can save the data for 3 or even 4 years. But if I'm mistaken, CCTV only can record for several weeks and need to be deleted. For example, Starbucks can analyze coffee sales for the past 5 years to spot seasonal trends or predict future demand. Okay, so any question up to now? We can take a break for 10 minutes and we come back later.